If I started my videos with a random clip, it would have to show off this because it makes no sense. We're going in reverse at 300 miles per hour, yet we're driving forward. Then we magically climb the pole, and then we start spinning all over the place. What the heck is going on? Find out in this video. Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod called the Road Grip Editor. So this is a mod you have to add to the screen manually, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it down here on the bottom of the screen, and let me show you some of the basic things it can do, and then we're going to get to the things that make absolutely no sense on exactly what is going on. So we're going to start with the gravy version of the Moonhawk, and this is a special version I made of the Moonhawk a while ago that has like 1,500 horsepower, but it simply can't put all that power down without sliding all over the place. But we can fix that with this mod. So first we got to figure out what kind of surface are we driving on. Right now it's obviously asphalt, but if you were driving on cobblestone, dirt, grass, whatever it is, you pick it there, and then you can modify the values of the friction, and we can do both static friction and sliding friction independent of each other. So we're going to start with static friction so you can see what that looks like, then I'll show you sliding friction as well. We're going to start with increasing the static friction value to about 3 times the normal value. And now look at how much traction we get when we launch this car. It gets the grip, pops a wheelie, and it just goes. It actually launched so hard, the whole rear end shifted to the right side. So look over here. You see how the wheels are a little bit under the fenders here, and then they're over on the right side? That's how grippy the roads are. Another example of how grippy they are is what happens when you go around a corner. So let's say you're going at normal speed and then you try to go around a corner, and yep, that is what's going to happen. The road is just so unbelievably grippy that your car will flip over instantly if you try to take a corner at a decent speed. And look at this, I can shift the rear wheels between the left and right side. Ha! That's great, but the car is dead. And I think that was pretty interesting, so let's go ahead and do a little bit more of that. We're going to just try to go around the corners without flipping over now, so we slow down and then just ease around the corner. But you see, even just doing that was actually lifting up the front wheels a little bit, going like 30 miles per hour. So here we go again, like 30 miles per hour through the corner, and look at the wheels lifted up. Oh, wow, that was close. Well, we did crash a little bit, but I don't think it should be too bad. We should be able to keep on driving after that, assuming I don't launch the car too hard. Actually, here's a good place to get up to speed, though. Look at this. 140 miles per hour and slam on the brakes. You see that? We were braking so hard, the front tires actually popped because the terrain is that grippy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the static friction to an absurd number. We're going to bring it up to like 20, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, now both sliding friction and static friction have been modified. Although in this specific situation, it is kind of hard to notice the changes to sliding friction because with the static friction being this high, you mostly experience that, and you're not going to have much sliding friction forces to actually notice. Wow! What an instantaneous crash. Usually you bounce off of something like that. That one said, no, I'm just going to grip you and destroy you. That for sure is from the increased sliding friction, because usually a roof will slide off of the surface as it crashes into it. It just got gripped there. So let's see this. Yep. You see the way the body panels are gripping the surface in the crash, making these super crazy, absurdly violent crashes? That's what happens when you increase both the static friction and the sliding friction at the exact same time. All right, now let's go ahead and do the opposite. So we're going to reduce the static friction. In fact, we're going to give 0 static friction. So this is kind of weird. The only value we have is sliding friction, which is really unusual because on most regular driving surfaces, static friction is going to be higher than sliding friction. So what does that get us? It gets us drift world, where the only way to drive is if you're drifting. If you're not drifting, you're not going to be able to drive at all. It's just really weird situation, which probably isn't the best for this vehicle. I need something with a little less power, so I'm going to just go ahead and wreck him, let him get wrecked, or maybe keep driving. It wants to drive some more, but I'm saying no. I want to get a vehicle that better shows off this environment, because this car always drifts everywhere it goes because it has so much power. But if we get something like a normal gravel D series, if you were to try to drive this around normally, you would never slide around the corners because it doesn't even have enough power to really kick out the rear end. But now in drift world, you slide around every single corner. Yes, we are not going that fast. It's like slow motion drifting, but I think it's beautiful. And I ain't no physicist here, but having a surface with 0 static friction but some sliding friction just doesn't sound right, and I don't think that would physically be possible. But thanks to the power of video games, here we go, something that makes absolutely no sense at all. Really, the neatest thing about this is it makes any vehicle fun to drive. Because I would not normally take this truck and be like, yep, this is an enjoyable driving experience. But here, you're just completely out of control 90% of the time, sliding all over the place and just trying to drift for your life. And it is very amusing. It's kind of like when you see those videos of people driving in snow, only even worse. And there is a crash with my truck. You did well, pickup truck. You did very, very well. And this is kind of funny, since there's no static friction, there's no way for you to remain stationary on any sort of hill. The smallest amount of slope will make you roll in that direction. So now we're going to make things make absolutely no sense. We're going to have negative static friction. What does that even mean? You tell me, because I can't comprehend how you could have a surface with negative static friction. It just doesn't make sense to me. So now that we're finally moving, you can see, whoa, everything is just blown up on the pickup truck. Haha. Well then, that's not what I expected to see, but that was interesting. So I'll reset the truck and try this again. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to drive up the hill and then try to come to a stop. If we have negative static friction that's greater than the sliding friction, I don't think we'll be able to come to a stop just stopping normally. Yeah, you see, we are sliding up a hill. That makes absolutely no sense at all, but that is in fact what we're doing. If we actually want to stop, what we gotta do is really slide the truck left to right, or maybe even try to put some power down in the opposite direction. I think that's the only way that we can come to a stop in this completely messed up world that makes absolutely no sense at all with its negative static friction. And again, if you want to try to go around a corner, you're gonna have to drift it. This one, it's even if you want to accelerate, you have to drift it basically. So how about a crash? What'll this do? Just gonna slide on a roof. And again, this is one of those situations where you really have to think, because sliding friction is the same, but static friction is a negative value, so we can slide for a long distance compared to normal? Apparently that's the way it works. Don't ask me to explain it, I'm just telling you the observation in this situation, because I'm truly not exactly sure what's going on anymore. The engine is locked up, we've been sliding for so long, but we haven't stopped sliding. And the funny thing is we can definitely slide a lot more because we can have no friction at all. So I'm going to set both of these to 0 and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so if we try to accelerate, we don't move an inch. The only reason we're moving at all, I'm pretty sure, is just because this road is not completely flat. That is the only reason we have moved at all, and we've actually busted a tire because these tires are spinning at like 100 miles per hour. But here's what I want to try though. So there's absolutely no friction, right? So that means I should just be able to kind of yank the truck like so and it'll just slide forever. Yep, that seems like it works. Although eventually I'm sure it will have to come to a stop because it'll get stuck on a pole or something, or it'll get stuck in a hole. But if we had an infinitely flat surface like grid map, we would just slide forever. I don't even know if I can influence where the vehicle's going with steering if there's no friction at all. I think there's nothing I can do. But hey, we got a cool grind at least. Oh wow, that's interesting. We actually came to a stop when we tried to grind. I thought it would just keep sliding. Oh, you know what it probably is? That is a different material than the road because it's a concrete barrier and not an asphalt ground surface. So that's why we can keep sliding on this for virtually ever, it seems like. But we stopped almost immediately when we tried to grind the barrier. That makes sense. There goes my dreams of Tony Hawking it. It would be kind of interesting, actually, if there was a version of the mod that just said, I'm going to change every single surface there is, so you don't have to think about the different surfaces, and you can just make the whole map one single surface. But this is kind of hilarious. Just, it's never going to stop sliding. So now, though, we got to go to the area where things stop making sense. Where I truly cannot explain to you what exactly is going on. We're going to go -1 on sliding friction and -1 on static friction. Yes, we can make both numbers negative. So if we try to accelerate with the pickup truck, that's what happens. Yep, the tires just explode and it goes in reverse and it goes faster and faster and faster because we have negative friction, so it's just going to keep accelerating. And if you believe the speedometer, we are going over 300,000 miles per hour for a second. Like, what is happening here makes zero sense. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't understand this. What is a negative friction And oh my goodness, look at how fast it's going. Wow. All I tried to do was accelerate a little bit in the city. And somehow we ended up underwater. If I started my videos with a random clip, it would have to show off this because it makes no sense. We're going in reverse at 300 miles per hour, yet we're driving forward. Then we magically climb the pole, and then we start spinning all over the place. What the heck is going on? Find out in this video. Seriously though, what the heck is going on? Why is it spinning in circles? I figured it would just slide all over the place, but I didn't think it would spin. That was really the unexpected part. So come on now, get some damage. Yes, it's just the frame now. The whole body is gone. And I love the fact that every single individual body panel is flying somewhere off in the distance. I don't know where any piece is anymore, but they're out there sliding all over the place forever. Hey, wait a minute. Is there friction up here? Yep, the friction is the same up there. Oh, look, here's some dirt. See, this is a good example of how it only modifies some surfaces. So the dirt, for example, that's normal dirt. It makes everything make sense again. And then we reset, and then sense is gone, control is gone, chaos is here. We are going like 1,000,000 miles per hour apparently just for a second. And now we are just gonna slide forever. Or are we? Yeah, no. Thank you, guardrail. You saved me as I see other pieces of the car just fly off in the distance. And you know the amazing thing is too is, yeah, that's pretty crazy, right? But we can go and just make it even higher if we wanted to. So I'm going to make both of the numbers -3, and I'll be back when I'm done. And the interesting thing here is it looks like everything is normal at first. If we drive around, that's normal driving. So what's actually happening here is static friction can't go this far negative, so it just reverts to normal, I think. But sliding friction can go this far negative. So if, for example, you do a little bit of a slide, just a little, there, yep, there's the sliding friction just taking us for a ride. Oh my goodness, we are just launching off of the map at like 300, 400 miles per hour or something. That was just absurd. I mean, you could tell we were going super fast even at the end because we were flying above the water for a while. Oh, and look at this. Even the floor down here is considered asphalt, so we're going to bounce around. Nice. All right, so there are still a couple of combinations I haven't tested out yet. For example, what if we have regular static friction, but a ton of sliding friction? So I'm going to put this up to about 5, and I'll be back once it's there. All right, so I also went ahead and changed cars. So we now have the drift version of the 200BX, which should be perfect for this because this car wants to drift. So if you're just doing ordinary driving, you don't notice anything too severe. It might feel a little bit grippier than you'd expect, but there's nothing crazy going on. But if you drive it right, like so, that's where things can get interesting. So if you actually try to drift, you're not going to drift because there's so much sliding friction, you're just going to end up popped on the two wheels just like that. So what you can do though, is you can enter the corners at the very last second. Like right here, we e-brake and we enter the corners so hard and so tight, it doesn't make sense. So we're going like 60 miles per hour. Whoa! So the main thing you gotta watch out for is making sure you don't churn too hard and tip over. And it's very easy to do that. For example, on this next corner, I'm just gonna go ahead and tip it 70 miles per hour. Look how late we can enter the corner. And if we didn't tip over and completely flip over there, we wouldn't be able to keep going. Actually, we can keep going just with less than ideal driving capabilities. So here we go. Late entry to the left and another roll. So I think I've properly demonstrated just how easy it is to roll this thing over. But I think really the interesting thing is it's not easy to accidentally roll it. You actually have to try a decent amount. So it'd be really interesting to try to do the fastest lap you could with this configuration because you're going to have to drive the car so differently. So anyways, we're now stuck on a roof. And you also notice when we ended on our roof, we just came to a stop because the sliding friction is so high, the car's not going to slide. Like you see, I tried to pull it along with the node grabber and it just says no. So let's go ahead and get it onto the wheels so we can take a look at it. And since the wheels are static friction, they can just roll. Nothing's going to stop them. Although the car is a little bit busted up. You see the way the mirror shot off? That looked weird. Or maybe that was the headlight. I don't know what it was, but let's go ahead and reset this. So next up, we are going to change the sliding friction to be 0 even. So now you do not want to slide at all because if you start to slide, you'll have almost no way to really recover. Okay. Oh, that's weird. The second you lose traction, it's just gone. You have nothing there. You need to drive super careful to make sure you don't start sliding, which is really difficult because I'm in a drift car. Oh, how do I stop? How do I stop? I can't stop. I can't. There's no way to stop. I'm just in this death spiral, and there's nothing I can do except wait. Oh my goodness. Eventually, the static friction saved me there, but that was terrible. All right, let's try this a little bit more. So this time we're going to the right. No, not again. Not again. Stop. Stop. Oh man, this is really bad. For a drift car, this is not what you want. If you have a car that's all traction, you might be okay, but this thing wants to slide so much. It's bad news. All right, easy corner. Oh, no, no. That's even worse. You start to slide mid-corner, and it just makes it maximum understeer, where you're just gonna go in a perfectly straight line if you slide a little bit. Watch. So like you're going around this corner, understeer, understeer. I'm trying to go to the left, and it does nothing because sliding friction is at 0. Seriously, it didn't even look like I was churning to the left there. All right, just for fun, let's bring it down to a negative number. I already know what's gonna happen. It's gonna shoot off into the distance if we start to slide the littlest amount. So we gotta make sure we don't do that. We already did it. How do you stop? There's no way to stop. Is there? Oh, we did come to a stop. Wow. I didn't think that would actually work. No! No! Wait. We're okay. The problem is the turbo is kicking in just a little hard. And when the turbo kicks in, it got me going. So I gotta be careful about that turbo. All right, there we go. Now I can accelerate. Here we go. Regular braking. No! I locked the brakes! You definitely want ABS with that setup, because if you lock the brakes a little bit, normally, oh, that's okay, I'll just lay up on the brakes a little bit. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that here. If you try to do that, you're just going to have it where the car accelerates more when you're trying to slow down. Wow, okay. And then still it's going to go up until it hits a tree. I was going to say it was going to go forever, but then it stopped. All right, just a little bit more fun driving like this. And then I want to test something else, which we need to change maps to do. And look at my speedometer, over 1,000 miles per hour. Not again. There's nothing I can do. I'm just done for. Bye, car. You're going to get destroyed. Big boom. And it's not done sliding, by the way, of course, because there's still this hill, which we can slide down and fly. Oh, thank you, Paul. You have saved me from flying forever. All right, so there's one more thing I want to test in this video. So to do that, we're going to head over to the automation test track. And I went ahead and grabbed a car and put it into position because there's no spawn near where I wanted to be. So we're at the top of the dam. And at the bottom of the dam, we have this beautiful jump that we got to do at least once. This isn't the reason I'm here, but there's a jump. I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to fly and land all the way across the water onto the hard surface. It would have been better if I landed in the water probably, but there's a fun little thing to do. But that's not the focus, like I said. The focus is we're going to try to climb up the dam using this regular old car with very, very simple strategies. So here we go. First gear, just flooring it to try to keep it in the power range. And look at this. It's already struggling, and there's no way it's going to get up the dam. So what do? Well, first we got to realize that this is not asphalt. This is asphalt old, which has ever so slightly different default numbers to the static friction and sliding friction, but only very slight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to increase the static friction a ton. I'm going to bring this thing all the way up to about 5, and that should be enough, or we can just drive right up this hill. So there we go, 5.2, that's good enough. And just like last time, locked in first gear and flooring it, and look at how easy we go. We just keep pulling up this thing, and we have infinite grip to easily get to the top. That's the easiest thing I've done all video. Oh, except we don't want to fall into the water. We got to stop before that. So I thought that was pretty neat that you could do that. And then the second you try to do a corner, well, yeah, I forgot. Static friction is high. Don't try to do a corner. Although that gives me another idea, actually. I'm going to head over to Grid Map real quick and try this out. And what I want to test is I want to see if we increase the static friction, will it make it easier to drive the vehicle upside down? So to test this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this tube, and what I want to do is I want to drive around it in this orientation. So let's go ahead and get a vehicle that's a tad faster than one we have. How about the Sport Special of the Ibishu Hopper? And we'll get a nice starting spot, so I'll back it up some. And let's just say right there is a starting spot. So if I floor it from there, what happens? We are just barely able to make that loop. It is not easy like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the static friction a ton, and we're going to see what happens. So here we go. Static friction is at 10 now, and you can see it is much grippier to the surface, and it doesn't have that momentary airtime. It just grips it beautifully. Also, if you guys are interested, I might do another video with this mod where we see what happens to the AI when you mess with the settings. Anyways, so I think that's going to do it for this video. Until next time, this has been WhyBeAre, and remember, if you like or dislike this video, I will know. I can tell by how grippy the surfaces are. So do the right thing, and I'll see you next time. By the way, if you're curious, the car stopped because it died. I think I over-revved it just a tad. Also, the reason I stopped the car here is because the engine died. I think I over-revved it just a tad.